I just wanted to start off by saying that if you suspect child abuse or anything remotely close, you should definitely notify the authorities. But when you do, make sure you do not make any false allegations or make up anything that never ever occurred. It's 2 a.m. I'm exhausted, I'm tired, but we need to get some things off our chest and we need to share some things with everyone. So, getting into that. We are in the middle of an investigation for child abuse, and it's actually very serious, and we're not kidding actually. And I don't know what we're gonna title the video, but I mean, I hope people don't think that we're kidding or like trying to, I don't know, pretend like something never happened. I don't know, whatever. But so let's kind of rewind. For the past 2 weeks, our life has been kind of hell a little bit. Yeah. Basically, it's our, okay, so let's start from the beginning. Our neighbor called the police and said that she witnessed one of our children being beat, and that escalated into an entire investigation. So let me rewind. Couple weeks or 2 weeks ago, I ran out of the house and I needed to grab something. I was hosting a baby shower and I was like, Mom, can you watch the kids? I'm gonna run to Publix really quick. 30-minute affair. During my Publix run, I get a phone call from my 5-year-old Izzy, crying and said, Mom, screaming her head off. My mom had called and gave her the phone. Mom, they took my dog away, like hysterical. Honey, what's the matter? You know, calming her down. She's like, they took my little doggy away. I want the doggy. 5-year-old, you know how it is. 5-year-olds, they have a temper tantrum. This is totally normal. So I get home. She's totally fine. As a matter of fact, 30 minutes later, I start vlogging, and you guys can see the vlog where we go to soccer, and she's happy and she's like, it's my first day of soccer. She's talking about everything. I mean, I'm filming her. She's perfect. Everything's perfect. So that's at 4:30, 5 o'clock. I leave to host, you know, I come home, bathe, everybody get into bed, whatever. 8 o'clock, I leave to host a baby shower that I'm hosting, and I forgot something. I come home, 3 cop cars at my door. I mean, 3 cop cars at my door, and I was like, oh, are they here for the neighbors? I just park. I was so confused. I walk in my house. There's 6 police officers in my house, interrogating my entire house. My mom, my dad. They woke up all 4 of my children. They took pictures of their heads, their arms, their faces, their bodies, their everything. They asked them questions. Mind you, my children are 6, 5, 2 at the time, and 6 months. Asked them questions, you know, like all sorts of, asked my mom, dad questions, my dad questions. Then when I walk in, they're like, who are you? Are you the mother? We need to ask you questions. And I was like, whoa, what is going on? Like, seriously. He's like, calm down, we need to ask you questions. I was like, about what? And he's like, apparently there was apparently your neighbor witnessed, mind you, she witnessed this in her home, through my fence and through my hedges. Okay, she witnessed all of this through the fence, through the hedges. One of my 5-year-old that was having a temper tantrum being beat. Okay, we don't hit our kids. No one in our like, and the police officers even asked her, did someone hit you? They're like, no, but they took my dog away. Like so absurd, so ridiculous, so everything. But anyway, so the police were like, I was in shock. Everything was crazy. I was like shaking because of like every parent's worst nightmare is losing any of their children. I mean, like, what is going on? And like, I feel like I was walking into like this, I don't know, I felt like I was walking into a nightmare. I don't even know. So anyways, so they're there for like till 2 hours, like just everything, questions everything, and they say, okay, well, we don't see any signs of abuse or anything. And I was like, whew, that's a good thing. But a child protective investigator will come tomorrow to, I don't know, whatever they do to do an investigation. I was like, what are you talking about? You don't see any abuse? You asked my kids if they were hitting. Like, honestly, nothing happened. It's just a psycho nosy neighbor who heard my child screaming and no, she didn't assume, because if she would assume that she was being beat and then she called the police and said, oh, maybe she's being beat, that's one thing. But she said that she saw her being beat. Now, they didn't know that this was through the fence, through the yard, I don't even know how to explain this to you. Like you guys, people who know us, when I told them the story, they're like, oh my gosh, like, of all people, you guys, like, one of my friends started crying. She's like, Becca, when I'm stressed, I always think, what would Becca do? Or what would Bernadette do, who's my mom's? Like, what would you guys do? Because you guys are like such good, loving parents. Like, your parenting style is so positive and loving. Like, we just don't hit our kids. And it's funny because the police officer was like, ma'am, in the state of Florida, it's not illegal to hit your kids. And I said, sir, I respect that. I understand that. We just don't hit our kids. We just don't do it. And so he's like, you're not going to go to jail for hitting your kids. I guess he was trying to get it out of me that we did hit the kids, like, but we didn't hit them. So then the next day, I called out of work. I'm like freaking out. I'm waiting all day long, like, oh my gosh, these investigators are coming, nothing. They didn't come at all day. And I'm like, okay, you know what? It's 8:30. We got to get these kids to bed. Let's go. So I'm putting them in bed. And then all of a sudden at 9 p.m. at night, it's not a knock on my door. It's like a bang on my freaking door. Like, boom, 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 boom. Like, sheriff's office. And I'm like, sir, seriously? Like, I have 4 kids. Like, I mean, I'm nice and all because obviously I don't want to be perceived as the psycho mother who beats their kids. So, but anyways, so I'm like, oh, hi, okay. Wake up all of my kids and do the same rotation all over again. Take pictures of all of my kids, faces, arms, legs, body parts. I mean like everything. And then interrogate all my children. Oh, and then she's like, hi, I'm the child protective investigator. Here's your rights. I'm going to be taking the kids into questioning. And I'm like, whoa. These are my babies. I don't feel comfortable with you taking them into questioning by themselves. And then she's like, no, this is part of what we do. And I was like, ma'am, I feel like I, as their parent, should have the right to be there. The alleged abuse wasn't even against me. It was my saint mother, who is the woman is a freaking saint. Like, seriously, like, needs to be, like, I mean, the woman is a saint. Anyways, I was like, so I feel like I should be there. She's like, no, I want to have an candid interview by themselves. And I called Davis. That's when I called you crying. Oh my gosh, they're taking the kids by themselves. Out.
And I told her there's no way they can do that. And she called one of our friends that's a lawyer. He's like, no, they should let you be there.
And then later I read the paper that the lady handed to me, that with your rights, it's like a 2-page paper, and in there it says you have the right to be there with your children, you have the right to record the interview, all these things that she totally lied to me and said that she could take them into, which, I mean, whatever, it's fine, because the kids didn't, I mean, the kids, they told the truth.
So fast forward to that part. I get home, they're still here waiting for me to interview me, and then they meet me outside. And they asked me this whole question. Oh,
well, what did you see when you were outside? They were knocking on all the neighbors' doors.
Yeah, they were knocking. They were walking around knocking on all of our neighbors' doors.
9:30 p.m. They're knocking on all my neighbors' doors, and to ask them if I'm, like, how embarrassing is that? Like, I mean, forget embarrassing, but like, seriously, like, dude, like what the freak? I feel like, luckily, I mean, first of all, I didn't even know half of my neighbors, but I mean, like.
So I was pretty calm about it, but I was kind of mostly pissed at the fact that they, try to interview my daughters while she wasn't there. So as soon as I got there,
I don't let anyone
I told the cop and the investigator, I was like, listen, I know what's going on. I know this is gonna go past us. I have nothing to hide. We don't hit our kids or anything, but I really don't respect the fact that you guys interviewed my daughter, who's a minor, without a parent or guardian there. And I was like, my wife and I were not part of the situation, so I can understand you guys thinking that we're gonna have some kind of negative impact on her say, but we're not. We weren't part of the situation, so either ways, we should have been there. And he's like, oh, well then, that's part of our investigation process. He has to be candid. No parents or anyone should be there. And it was a bunch of BS, but
I mean, they're babies.
Totally pissed.
They're 3, they're 2, there's at the time she was 2, she was 5 and 6. They're babies. I mean, whatever. And it's fine because during the interview, like, I asked my daughter Leia, like, what did they ask you? She asked if you were a good mom. She asked if grandma's nice, and she asked if you guys hit us, and she asked, and I was like, well, what'd you say? She's like, no. She said, are you nice? She goes, yeah, I like my mom and my grandma. And I'm like, well, good. I mean, that's nice that she said that, but I mean, I don't know. Yeah. What if a little kid said, I don't like my mom? I don't know. Like, what the heck? So
even after all of that, questioning us, and then even wait for her mom to get home, which was like late at night, 10 something at night.
It was a nightmare.
It was ridiculous. Then they tell us, listen, you have to sign this thing saying it's I don't know what it was called, but
protective order.
A protective order where her mom or grandma cannot watch the kids at all. For in this case, until the investigation is over. And we're like, what the heck?
I was like, what?
She's our life.
No, the police was here and the investigator was here. The sheriff was like, okay, we're releasing our case. We're done. For us, there's no abuse. The only reason I'm here is to take someone to jail. And as far as us, the kids obviously don't have any bruises on them. They're not abused. I mean, I can talk. You guys. He even said you guys have a loving, happy home. And to be honest,
that cop, he was super cool, super nice, super cool, and everything. But he was like, by the books, I have to be here, and this is the process we have to do. And by what I'm looking at, nothing has been wrong in this situation, but the investigator's here. She has to put this protective service or order in place, which is her mom.
And she's like, you guys have to sign this thing saying that your mom will not watch the kids. And I was like, ma'am, nothing happened. Like, you can't. I get, okay, so who's gonna watch me? She's like, you have to put them in childcare, or you have to pay. We can help you find a daycare. I was like, oh, you can help me pay for it too? She's like, no. I was like, I'm not gonna put. First of all, I don't even trust anyone. I'm not gonna put my kids in daycare because I don't trust daycare. And then on top of that, she's like, you can't. Like, the only person I trust is my mom, and like I can count on my hands the people I trust. And like, she's like, oh well. So I'm like, okay, great. I'm gonna call out of work again for the third time.
I signed it because I'm just like, let's get it over with. Like, we'll find someone. Her dad was able to do it. They should just. Her mom cannot watch the kids at all.
But which was embarrassing.
It's ridiculous.
It's like my mom is it's like so annoying. Anyways, long story short.
Then she said, was like, well, Rebecca's like, no, don't sign it.
I was pissed. I was like,
and I was like, hey, listen, this is what they have to do. Imagine if this was a real situation for somebody else. This is what has to be done. Like, I was understanding about it, and like, I was pissed about the whole situation, but I was like, listen, we'll figure it out. We did nothing wrong. Let's just get it over with. And the cop said, when she said we're not going to sign it, he's like, well, if you don't sign it, we have to get a warrant for you to sign it. If you don't sign it, we take you to jail, pretty much.
No, they said they were going to take our kids away.
Something like that.
So they're like, if you don't sign it, we're gonna have to go to court and then take your kids away. And I was like, what the hell? Like, obviously when you hear like take your kids away, you're like, like,
So she signed it, and then obviously they said her mom can't watch the kids. We have to take the kids into a physician
to get analyzed by the physician. All these crazy. I was like, what the heck? Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
like, so I'm like, okay, so this was Wednesday, because it's Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, so then Thursday.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So then Thursday, I'm like, okay, and I'm waiting for her to call me all day. Okay, where am I supposed to take my kids? I called out of work again. I'm like stressed to the max, like, and then every little thing, like, okay, I have 4 children. At one point, one of them are going to fight about something. I am paranoid about everything. Like, Lily and Izzy started fighting over toy. I'm like, shh, stop fighting. Like, I'm like freaking out because
literally calls me like
crying because I'm like, the girls are crying
because she's like, I don't know what to do. Oh, the investigator hasn't called me back, And then she's like, and the girls are going a little bit.
They were fighting, and then Lily went. She kind of hit Izzy in her face, and I was like, no, because I'm like, oh my gosh, heaven forbid that there's like a scratch or something on your face, and then they see it, and I'm like, oh, thank heavens that the day they were here, there was not like 1 ounce of it. I mean, they're children. They fall, they scrape their knees, but for some reason, you know, God had his hands over my children that day because they didn't have a scratch on them at all. For heaven's sakes, nothing. But when the investigator was here, because I felt like even the tiniest little scratch, they'd have been like, oh, you got to take them in for that. I'm like, oh my gosh, but they had nothing, not a bruise, not a scratch, not a paper cut, nothing.
Yeah, I felt like we were walking on eggshells like the whole time, because any little thing, we're just like, oh my gosh, like, you know, if this investigation is still open, if something happens, you know, it can totally turn on us. And just the thought of losing our kids over over somebody's allegations of what they claim they saw was ridiculous. I was totally pissed off, but you know,
I want to show you guys the backyard and the fence and the shrubs, because like for them to say that they witnessed that through the fence, the shrubs, like it's like, seriously, like,
well, if
what
you guys
the heck?
go back and watch some of our vlogs, we spend tons of time in the backyard.
Yeah, in the backyard.
And you can see the hedges are there. The neighbor, you can see someone on the other side. You see, but you can't clearly see what's going on.
Right.
You see maybe someone pass by.
I would have respected the fact if she called and said, hey, there's a child screaming outside. Yeah. Obviously, whoever called doesn't have children, okay? Oh, and the reason that she was screaming outside and not inside is because the guy was fixing the toilet.
Yeah, we had the plumber over.
The plumber was here, and my mom was like, okay, we need to go outside because the plumber is like, he's like young, in his 20s, and I'm sure he doesn't want the child screaming in his ear. And so my mom's like, we need to go outside. And so that's the only reason we went out. The girls were outside screaming. But I mean, so long story short, we're such a mess. It's 2 a.m. I don't even know.
Yeah, it was crazy, and we didn't really want to vlog it because it was an open investigation.
It still is.
And two, it still is, but it's something that we don't really need to remember of during that time. But we thought we'd talk about it to bring some kind of awareness. You know, like, it's, if you see something happen, of course, call the police, call the authorities, but you know, don't speculate, don't throw accusations of what you think you,
because these are people's lives
yeah.
You're freaking ruining. These are people's lives you're messing with, and don't mess with my kids and don't mess with my life. Like, yeah. I feel like you have no idea. I told the police, I told them like this is exactly what I said to him, my exact words. I said, sir, these false allegations, those were false, but I'm telling you now, you might get another phone call from my neighbor there, and when she calls you about those allegations, that's going to be true, because I'm going to go to her house and I'm going to knock on her door, and those allegations she tells you are not going to be false, because I'm going to freaking beat her. And then he's like, I wouldn't do that if I were you, ma'am. I was like, dude, I'm serious. I'm so frustrated. So the investigation is still open, everyone, and it's going to be open for 60 days. I waited for this PI, whatever her name is, the investigator lady, to call me back every day for 1 week.
Yeah, for like a week. She didn't call back. She called her like every single day, like couple of 2-3 times a day.
Every day I called her.
Never called back.
She never called me back. I would walk in eggshells.
She even tried a couple other numbers. I
called every number. I looked up the number for the guys. I became a freaking PI and looked up everybody's number, and this woman did not call me back. And I'm like, okay, am I supposed to take my child to what am I supposed to do? I'm like freaking walking in, and during all that time I had to call out of work every single day because my mom couldn't watch my kids. Like, and then finally this woman calls me back after I prayed for like literally an entire day. She finally calls me back and she's like, okay, yeah, we've released it, so yeah, your mom can watch the kids. My supervisor said there's no signs of abuse, and so the Child Protective Services is not accepting your case, so it's still going to be open for 60 days. But I was like, okay, I'm new,
so
whatever.
It's not closed.
I was like, so it's not closed? She's like, well, for 60 days we still have it open, but yeah, so it's closed, but it's still open. I was like, so my mom can watch my kids? Yes. So is there anything wrong? She's like, no, yeah, that's fine. Okay. I was like, but you guys are playing with people's lives here. Like, you guys need to get your act together.
It's ridiculous. But
anyways,
that's our crazy life.
It's been
not a typical day in our life.
No.
Definitely not.
No.
Good thing this is going to be over us.
In 60 days.
In less than 60 days. But, you know, that's been a major stress in our life these past few weeks.
So yeah, I guess we're going to keep you updated. We'll keep you all updated on anything that comes up, if the caseworker calls or whatever. And I'm so lost as to what's going on. So if you guys, as soon as I know anything, I'll let you know. If you have any questions, please ask me. I'll answer all of them. My children are all fine. They're wonderful. They're great. They're loved. They're cared for. My mom is a saint. Our family's happy. Everybody is perfect. Everything's wonderful. I feel like sometimes...
Well, everything's not wonderful. You can't just...
No, I feel like seriously,
well, everything's on the right path.
Is moving up.
Yes.
I feel like sometimes you
This has only been... So lately, this has been the only speed bump in our lives that was totally stress and everything. But we're going to get past it, okay? So this... I don't want to, you know... stick on this too much because it's negativity. I don't like, you know, we're gonna get through this.
Yes.
And that's it. And we just thought we'd share.
I don't want to make this video so long. Sorry guys, I talked forever. I'm really sorry.
It's been gone longer than we wanted it to go on this video, but like we said, we just wanted to bring some kind of awareness. If you see something, yes, call for help, but don't accuse someone of something that you weren't fully aware of what you saw.
I'll keep you posted. You know what I'm gonna do? This is my next video. I'm gonna bring you guys to the neighbor's house with me.
And then I'll take you with me, getting her out of jail. So we'll see you guys later. Thanks for dropping by. You guys are awesome.